Hello, party people. Welcome to the mix breakdown of Amalgamation. And it's the newest single from my upcoming album, Sin. Amalgamation is available on all your major streaming platforms such as Napster, Deezer, Pandora Radio, all the ones that people use. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Wasn't that scene transition cool? I know, I'm the best video editor ever. All right. So here's the project. We're back in Ableton, which that's what all of these are going to be. But actually, we have to go to a different program first. VCV Rack, everybody's favorite. So the whole entire track is really based off this really terrible VCV Rack patch I made. And if you're not familiar with VCV Rack, it's free. You should try it out if you make music, especially electronic music. It's really powerful if you know what you're doing. If you do use it and look at this, you can tell I obviously don't. But I was trying to make a drum patch, and this is what it ended up sounding like. Let me show you. Yep, sounds awesome, doesn't it? But the really cool sounds started happening when I decided to record this back into Ableton. And I was using the loopback feature on my interface, and I was recording it, and since there was so much stuff going on my computer, it kept feedbacking. And it created some really awesome sounds, and that's pretty much all those distorted, like crazy distortion hits and buildups that happen in the track. All of them come from just manipulation of this patch. So let me show you exactly what I mean here. So if we go up to the very beginning of the track here, we have these drums. And what these drums are is they are just, that's the sample I got from recording VCV Rack, and then just run through a bunch of effects, drum buses, OTTs, LFOs for later, compressor, and they end up sounding like this. Which, I mean, I think that's awesome. That's such a better sound than what we were originally getting from VCV Rack. And then I also did it to do hits like this. Yeah, which I think such a fun way. I always love starting tracks like from like a stranger creative standpoint, like making a whole track based off just something weird. Usually, almost always turns out fun, and that's how, honestly, almost all of the tracks on Sin ended up happening. Was let me just try to record this weird piercy gear. Let me try to like use this new piece of software, a new plugin, and that's where, at least for me, I get tons of my ideas from. So I always recommend, like, if you're ever stuck, just look up a YouTube video on like free VSTs you can download or something, or like a free music software that you've never used before, and then just try to get something out of it. And you usually come up with something pretty cool. And then my favorite usage of this clip is over here, and let me play that for. Oh no, we don't want to do that. Don't want to do my voice through that. Okay, let me play it. That's when we go into that big chorus in the middle. And obviously, if you haven't listened to the track yet, I would go listen to it first and then come back so all this stuff actually makes sense. And you can find that. It'll be linked below and all that fun stuff. In this, I used another fun Ableton trick that if you use Ableton, you should totally check out, which is the clips, like the clip envelopes. So you can do automation within audio clips, and it is so awesome. You can basically just, it's the same thing as doing just automation, but you get some other fun stuff where you can actually kind of like mess with some of these settings that you normally can't. So I'm messing with the transposition here, and I'm just yanking it up and then slamming it down. So you can hear like at the end, like right here, and it just completely messes it up. And you'll get, your mileage may vary on that certain effect with the transposition, but I recommend using it for something because it's really fun, really cool. And the final thing I made with that VCV Rack material was this other hit, which is used stuttered a bunch throughout the track, and it sounds like this. And these are so much fun. And that has just a bunch of effects, pitch hack, really fun Max for Live effect, does some strange stuff. Just, you know, bunch of basic stuff, mostly just compressors and EQs, etc. To the drums. Let me go. So we've heard the feedback drums. That's like the main drum source in the beginning, and then it switches over to more like traditional electronic music drums. And the main source of that is going to be the snare, which is just a random snare from Ableton somewhere, and the kick it's called the Riot kick because it comes from a track with that word in it, and it is throughout basically the whole entire album. So you can listen to those together. Turn off this guy. And pretty much everything in the track is going to be sidechained to that kick, with some stuff also being sidechained to that snare too. So you get a bunch of like ducking everywhere. And the snare is a pretty standard setup for me, at least. I got the snare sample, I got reverb, I got OTT, filter, and then a gate. So it's like a gated reverb snare type deal. And with the OTT, just bringing all the bite and then like cutting it off really quick, I think you get some really great effects. And my kick drum, and I may have explained this in the last video. If you haven't watched the Pints of Blood mix breakdown, totally watch that because that one's fun too. My favorite part about this kick is if you look down here, I have like 4 different samples. So I have... So those are 4 samples that comprise the whole kick, except I have 2 tops and I change them out depending on what's going on. But that allows me to get like changes in dynamics from the kick really fast, but still keep the pulse going throughout the piece. So let me play like starting from right here. And it just quickly, like it takes a step back and you still are getting the side chaining from it. You're still getting the feel that there's a kick there, but it's not just like beating you in the face like it is for lots of this track. And then I also will do some stuff like this where I almost make it so it does tom fills. So you can hear that right here. I'll turn the snare off. And that's a super fun effect you can get with having a kick drum that's tiered like this, which I think is just a really great way to do it, and it makes it unique. I mean, you could, of course, go in here and copy all these settings if you wanted my kick drum, or just like send me an email and I'll give it to you. But it's great because you can combine samples and get really unique sounds, and it'll be unique to you, and they're really fun to make. That's the main drums. Over here we have some auxiliary drums, which is for this section. I'll play it outright, and then I'll add I'll just solo the drums. That's all it is, just a good old kick and snare running through a drum bus. That's it. I tried to kind of not have much cymbal percussion in this one. I wanted it to be more stark, and so I didn't really use any cymbals except for here, which is acoustic drums, and they are just, you plug an Easy Drummer, which you might be familiar with if you do a lot of like rock stuff. You use it great for like sketches and stuff like that, or I use it for real actual things that I release because I ain't got no money to record a drum set. So let me just play this, and it's running through the settings, which you can see down here. And I think that gated delay especially really gives it a great sound. And the one knob, which it's the pumper, so it basically just like affects if it's getting stuttery or not, is really great for transitions. Like right here, you can hear. Worked great for me as a transition. And that's pretty much all the drums. Honestly, this one is relatively sparse in the drum department. I think the difference between this and Pints of Blood is there is less stuff going on in this track, technically, but each thing was more complex to like make and put together. So after drums, we have the bass, and the bass is kind of my standard super chopped up bass. And the bass was in such a ridiculous tuning. It was in C, then A flat, then D flat, then G flat. So like half step down, but then you put it in drop C. Even though I'm mainly just using that low C string for pretty much the whole thing. But let me just play the bass solo here at the beginning. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the bass is pretty much identical here, except for some apparently slightly different compressor settings. But as per usual, I'm using like just Ableton stock, like bass cab, bass amp, and then I run it all through Trash, and then filter it every once in a while when I need to. But it sounds great. I really enjoy doing. Let's find one around here. Yeah, like right here, I like doing these like left and right bounces, which is the reason it's in 2 channels for this track. So like, you get that weird shaky effect, and I do it like really quick, and it's really fun. And I think it adds a lot of variety. So that's the bass. Some more bass would be like here near the what's this, near the main chorus? Yeah. And that just sounds ridiculous. It's so loud. It's awesome. I love the bass in this track. And it was probably the second thing that gave me the inspiration was like tuning that bass down to C on the lowest string, which is really silly for a bass, to be honest. Next is vocals. Vocals, there's a little bit more going on in this track. Let me make this guy smaller here. So we have kind of like our main vox with effects on it, dry vocals down here, and then super affected vocals up here. So like the intro vocals are going to be sounding like this. Unity results in perfection. And basically what that is just I have one layer that is just kind of standard, me talking in like a weird creepy voice, and then I have me whispering. And it's just running through kind of the chain I use for lots of this, which is just compressing, saturating, EQing with some RX stuff. Apparently I'm using the RX-7 and the RX-10 de-esser for this, which is not something I recommend. And then like I love using the guitar pedals on the vocals, really fun. And if you want to hear those same vocals in the chorus with this extra added one at the bottom, which is mainly just tuned a little bit with Nectar, I believe. And I'll play that. We're set up for perfection, only to find. Yep, and these two in the top are like the high voice, and then I got the lower voice in the bottom. And for the next set of vocals here, we got the yellow guys. And these are for kind of the verses, I guess they would be called. So let me play that for you. That does not actually play. Oopsie. Right here we go. What am I but parts built up from the mother. And that's what it sounds like. It's just, some delay, some reverb, all that stuff. And yes, you could maybe hear the track a little bit through the mic in the beginning. That's all right. And that's the like kind of the general verse sound for this track. And then probably my favorites is it's basically the same setup as the yellow vocals, except I just add some trash to it, and then I add some auto tune to it, and those sound like this. I'll give you the. And they just sound really strange and otherworldly, which is, what I was going for. So that's the vocal setup. Everything, of course, is really going to be, I'm going to have some side chaining going, de-essing, compressing, EQing, all the fun stuff that you do with vocals. And with just a little bit of volume automation here and there, as you can tell right here. But vocals were kind of a pain for me in this one. I had a completely different approach to the vocals when I first did it. I had really, really affected vocals at the front, but then I thought the dry sound works a lot better. And this, I re-recorded the chorus like I don't know how many times. But after vocals, what do we got left? We got synths. There's not many in this piece. Most of this piece is sample-based, which is very unusual for me. But there's really just 2 synths to talk about. There's the sub, and then there's like the weird ghost whistle. So I'll play the sub first. Which, fantastic. It's just one of Ableton's stock instruments, but I just messed with the waveform here. I love this little thing where you can just draw the waveform so you get weird looking stuff. And adjusted some of the settings, added a compressor, done deal. That's pretty much all I had to do. I was really happy with the sound pretty much out of the box. And then the ghost whistle that's what the preset's called, but then I changed a bunch of settings, then added all of this stuff, and that sounds like this. And you can hear that that pumper changing automation there, so like building into things and stuff like that. But great to build tension, great to just add something kind of off to the sides when you're working, because this has like that auto pan. I have it cranked up like really, really far, really wide, so it's floating all over the place, which I really enjoyed. And besides that, there's just a couple extra goodies in the track. There's this riser, which sounds like the transformer, like the sound. Listen to this. Michael Bay. If you need more sound design for Transformer Rise of the Beasts, call me. Well, I guess he's not directing them anymore. But yeah, that's fun sound. Also taken from the VCV rack with all sorts of crazy stuff put on it. And I literally just now today realized that sounds like a Transformer booting up, which I think is awesome. And then here we got another, this is just a stock, you know. That sample is also probably in almost all my tracks. And really the final section of the piece, because the piece itself, or the track, kind of ends in this area, and then it goes kind of out into the outro of the track, which is a combination of a couple things. It's the feedback drums, but then once we get over here, these LFOs turn on, and these LFOs are changing the transposition of the drums. So that way, because this one's affecting this guy, and then this guy is affecting this guy. So if we listen to these drums, solo. So you just get a bunch of fun variation, and then I also slam it into the delay bus a lot then too. Alongside that is the actual original samples I got recorded from the feedback drums without the feedback. So let me play that. So yeah, VCV rack again, you can get some crazy results. And layered on top of that is the last element that's heard in this piece, that's on this piece in general, and that is this, it's the Spitfire upright piano. It comes with Live Suite if you have it, but if not, I think you can get it for free from Spitfire. Might be on Labs, but it sounds great. Added a bunch of just an amp and reverb to it, and it sounds like this. I think it sounds cool. I think it sounds almost like a guitar, kind of. It does not sound like a piano. It has a hint of piano, but that's really how I like my pianos. It's just a hint. And listening to that theme, when you listen to the track, when the album comes out on April 7th, you will listen for that theme. Listen for the dun 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 dun, because it's all over the place. It's one of the main themes, I guess, of the album. I really liked it. There's a whole track that it comes from that you'll hear when it comes out. But yeah, that's Amalgamation. It was so much fun to make. I've been working on it for a while. And if you haven't listened to it yet, make sure to go listen to it. It's available on all streaming platforms, as well as the last single, Pints of Blood, which you can check the mix breakdown out and the actual track out. And the album that all this stuff will be on, Sin, comes out on April 7th. So make sure to check that out when it comes out. All right, thank you. Epic YouTube outro now.
Was set up for perfection.